Brooklyn Park is celebrating the completion of the largest solar panel installation by a city in Minnesota.
It takes someone to take the lead and be the innovator. That's why I salute Mayor Lundy and the entire city of Brooklyn Park for doing so, because that's going to inspire other cities, both smaller ones and also larger ones.
Brooklyn Park installed more than 6,000 solar panels at Brooklyn Park facilities. They're located on the rooftops of 3 public works buildings. They're also on the fire and police stations, as well as on the ground at the community center and the water treatment plant. The panels will help power all city facilities. A Minnesota Solar Grant, federal tax credits, and a third-party investor helped make the project possible. The city of Brooklyn Center is getting behind a developer's plan to turn a long-time vacant site into affordable housing for working families and seniors. They would be built on a site near Bass Lake Road and Xerxes Avenue, which used to be a Jerry's Foods. The homes would serve people or households making roughly $45,000 or 60% of Hennepin County's median income. A Twin Cities nonprofit hopes to help victims of a fire that destroyed a New Hope group home last month. 3 residents with special needs were displaced and lost all their possessions. A transport van was also destroyed. They have to start over due to gaps in insurance coverage. The nonprofit Opportunity Partners manage the house. They hope to raise $300,000 for the victims. This weekend, we have an interesting question for you. What do saving habits and fireflies have in common? Neil Persley found out.
I think what really makes fireflies fascinating is just the simple fact that they light up.
You might have collected them in jars as kids.
We named our credit union Firefly, so we got to have fun with it.
And you might have noticed a credit union in your neighborhood that has named itself after these little ambassadors of summer.
We have to find a connection to teaching kids about saving.
Saturday night, out at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum, Firefly Credit Union, with a little help from entomologist Eric Middleton, will teach kids about collecting fireflies and collecting or saving money.
I think it's a really cool idea if there's this group that wants to not only promote good financial practices but also promote knowledge about insects, especially some that are as interesting as fireflies. I'm all for it.
This cool intergenerational concept of fireflies. Grandparents, parents are teaching their kids about fireflies. We say teach your kids about savings too. So when you take that glass jar and you use it to catch fireflies at night, we say use that same jar to fill it with coins during the day and start to save your money.
The time to start developing good saving habits is right now. And it just so happens that right now is also the perfect time to go out in search of the cheery little lightning bug.
Fireflies, like I said, spend most of their life as larvae, but then they'll emerge as adults, usually around late June, early July. And most of them don't live very long. It's only for a couple weeks in the time they have to mate, find mates, lay eggs, and then they usually die off as adults. So right around now is a really good time to be seeing them.
The evening promises to be a learning experience on 2 fronts.
The kids are going to be able to walk around a bog. They're going to see where the fireflies are at. They're going to get tips from an expert on how to find fireflies, and it's going to be a conversation starter. At the event, we're going to talk to kids about savings, the importance of savings, how it's fun to save, it's fun to plan financially.
From the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum in Chaska, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Ticketed, so to sign up for the Firefly experience, go to Firefly Credit Union's website, and we'll have a link to that on our website, ccxmedia.org. We've reached the halfway point in our show. Literally, it's time for another Backyard Getaways. Photographer Dustin Scholl and reporter Eric Nelson went on a parallel path and discovered a couple of gems.
This week in Backyard Getaways, we found some middle ground, literally. We're at the 45th parallel in Golden Valley, exactly halfway between the equator and the North Pole. A simple plaque and sign mark this central location, right off Golden Valley's Route 66. Take off in any direction, and you quickly discover there is plenty near the 45th parallel.
This is a hidden gem, a hidden oasis. It's sort of tucked into this little neighborhood.
Just a couple miles to the south is the Westwood Hills Nature Center in St. Louis Park.
We always find people coming in like, wow, I didn't know you were here. That's kind of a really common response we'll find with new people, and they're really happy to find us here and discover us and come out for a walk.
Bordered by I-394 and US 169, Westwood Hills is a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of the Twin Cities metro. Westwood's footprint is 160 acres. On a rainy day, it has a Pacific Northwest-like look with lush green plants and marsh woods.
I think there's so many benefits, physical benefits and mental benefits of having outdoor green spaces for people to be in, and the research backs that up too.
The Nature Center has 3 miles of hiking trails and an abundance of wildlife inside and out.
So this is our barred owl that we care for here at Westwood. He's with us due to a permanent injury. He's blind in his right eye, so he can't be released to the wild.
Visitors clearly give a hoot about the owl and other birds at Westwood.
We also have a red-tailed hawk that we care for, and a lot of people come to see them specifically.
I like to walk through the preserve to get a nice break from work.
Our next stop was the General Mills Nature Preserve, located a few minutes north of the 45th parallel.
We hear a lot of birds, see a lot of wildflowers, just like to get the fresh air.
For Golden Valley, this is a gift from corporate America. The shallow marsh, wet meadow, and floodplain forests are just blocks away from General Mills.
You know, it takes maybe 15 minutes to walk through the loop and get some fresh air during the day.
The Nature Preserve is a popular spot for employees to decompress. Checking out colorful wildflowers or walking around the lake is the ideal break from a workday. For Backyard Getaways, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
July, but local high school gyms, fields, and weight rooms are hardly empty. Over the next several weeks, we catch up with athletes who are putting in a lot of hard work in the weight room and beyond in our Workout Warriors series. They say players are made in the summer. We're going to feature some of the athletes that are working hard in strength and conditioning programs at schools in the northwest suburbs. Our first Workout Warrior is from Park Center. He may not be the biggest guy around, but Raymond Andrews, who will be a senior this fall at Park Center, gets it done on the football field, the track, and in the weight room.
Like he said, I am like a smaller guy, so I have to maintain my weight and my speed to be faster than most bigger guys, because if I were to be slow, then I would really be useless. So I just try to be as fast as I can, get around the bigger guys, and just create a play and have fun.
Raymond is just the type of kid that you want on your team. You know, he's a football player. He runs track, all around great work ethic. And the reason this summer he's been fantastic. He's the first kid at workouts, last kid to leave, and to be 16, 17 years old with that type of mentality, the future's bright for the young man.
Andrews has already been named a captain for the Pirates football team. He knows the summer months are crucial for improvement, individually and as a group.
June and July is really important because, like, once August starts, that's when those real practices start and the padded practice. And June and July gives you the time to get bigger, faster, stronger, bond as a team, and everybody just understands each other. If you were to just come in starting in August and September, then say, for instance, your quarterback might not know who's fast. Your quarterback might not know who can block, who can catch the ball good. So
Raymond hopes to play football in college. Working out is in his blood now, and he says it's likely to continue well past his days of competitive sports.
90% sure that I will be still training, because I don't want to get out of shape or be just sitting around and doing nothing, you know. So I want to stay in shape, keeping my body right, and staying healthy.
There is plenty of summer left for Minnesota anglers. We go back on the lake today with Terry Tuma for our weekly CCX fishing tip as he talks about crankbaits for bass.
I just got back from fishing the Mississippi River system for smallmouth and largemouth bass with some great success. But a key ingredient in this success was using a number 4 crankbait, or I've been using number 4 glass shad wraps. And these are, of course, small lures, if you will, small baits. But someone was asking me, well, those fish are that shallow? No, I really felt that they were not that shallow, that what they would do is follow that all the way up to halfway to almost 3/4 of the way to the boat, and then they would strike that crankbait. But along with that too, I do use a spinning rod and reel with number 8-pound test mono or fluorocarbon line to gain the distance. It's too difficult to gain that casting distance with a bait caster. But the other key ingredient, when I would cast out parallel to the area that was fishing, the riprap areas. Also, this pertains to weed lines. You want to cast parallel, you want to cast at angles, because then you're going to keep that crankbait in the strike zone of where those fish are at. The other key factor in catching these fish was cranking that handle on that spinning reel so slow that I would be able to see or feel was the vibration of crankbait. A great way to catch bass, not just on the river system, but throughout the whole largemouth and smallmouth fishery.
Champlin Park facing off with Blaine and Summer Boys Lacrosse. Blaine's Joe Lang uses his speed to get around the defense and scores up high to give Blaine a 1-0 lead after a quarter. Second quarter, the Rebels' Will Steven fakes the pass and then moves in closer. He winds up and fires a shot in for a goal, tying it at 1. But Blaine goes back ahead a short time later. Zach Crone takes the pass and scores to make it 2-1. Blaine goes on to win this one 5-1.